it's Vishnu here. Yet again, I'm here with a new video. This time it's on defensive piece. So that's the topic for this video. So here in this topic, what we'll be doing is that we'll be going through a couple of examples which helps us increase the mobility of the piece by either diverting the defender or by capturing the defender. So a defensive piece is an important piece because it controls many of the important squares that prevents the opponent from attacking. So let's take a look at a very simple example here. You can see in this position white is a pawn up. He has his king on h7, bishop on h4, pawn on g6. The pawn is ready to queen in two moves, but you can see there's a defender here guarding this important g7 square. So if you push the pawn to g7, bishop takes g7, king takes g7, and it would be a draw because you cannot mate with one single bishop. So what are we supposed to do? Even if we bring our bishop to f6, say if you move a piece like bishop to f6, it is not going to help anything much because even then the bishop is not going to move away from this place. He would just move his king to f5. So then g7, bishop takes g7, bishop takes g7. Once again, it is going to be a draw. So you will have to think of something, either capturing the bishop on f8 or diverting the bishop from that f8 square so that it doesn't defend the g7 square, which is a crucial square for white as far as white is concerned. Of course, for both, because g7 square is crucial for black because he wants to prevent the pawn from queening, and it's important for white because he wants to queen the pawn. So here the correct move is to play bishop to e7, forcing the bishop to either capture this piece on e7 or give up the bishop. So if he captures a bishop on e7, you can simply move your pawn to g7, and there is no way you can stop this pawn from queening. It's on a light square and you have a dark squared bishop and you cannot control it. The king is too far away, so it's not possible. The black king is too far away from the g8 square. What happens if you play bishop g7 or bishop h6? Let's take a look at bishop h6. Bishop h6, if you're simply giving it up, you can simply capture it. Now king comes to f5, g7, king goes to e6. And it's all clear win for white. You can simply queen, or you can also, if you don't want to simply give up the bishop, you can also withdraw your bishop back to a3 or something. Then if you place king f7, you can play king h7 and then queen. So you'll have your bishop also with you along with the new queen. So this is a very simple example to make you understand. I've carefully chosen these examples so that you can easily understand these concepts. So let's take a look at the second example. Okay, here you can see that white has two pieces, king on e2 and a rook on h2, whereas black has got three pieces, bishop on h5, king on g6 and rook on f3. But it's white's turn to move. But the problem with white is that he is lesser in material. And also, if it was black's turn, then he could play rook to h3 check, discovered check. He can move his rook to h3, and there would be a check on the king. And when the king moves, he can snatch the rook. But right now, it's white's turn to play, and white plays a very good move called rook takes h5, capturing the defender. The only defender of this rook on f3. The only defender of the rook on f3 was this bishop. So if you capture the bishop, then he loses one defender, a key defender in the endgame for black. Now black is forced to take king, takes h5, and king takes f3, and it's a dead draw. There is nothing you can do about this. It's a dead draw. And what happens if black plays some other move, like he pulls his rook back to f6 or something like that? Then you can simply move your rook back to a5. Any squares. For example, I'm considering a5 here, and you cannot mate. Both of them cannot mate because both of them are equal in material. There is no pawns, no other pieces, so you cannot queen or something. And unless one of them blunders away the rook and give up the game in that way, else the game would suppose else the game would end in a draw for sure, unless you blunder your rook. So this is another example of capturing the defender in order to capturing a key defender so that you can uh, improve your mobility of your pieces. Here it was not about just mobility alone. Here it was to save your game. So rook takes h5 was a key tactic. King takes h5, king takes f3 would be a draw. Okay, so this is another game played between two chess players. I don't know to pronounce their names, so I'm not going to say their names. It happened in Tbilisi I think Tbilisi is in Georgia in 1937. So here it's black's turn to play, and you can see that white is materially up. He has also got an extra pawn, which is also a passed pawn. But you can see here that the king is kind of a little bit exposed because the pawn is on g3. The light squares are weak here on the king side. So here black plays a very good move called bishop takes c4. At first glance it looks very simple move. What's the use of exchanging this piece? You might be thinking that way. But after queen c4 there's a brilliant move. It is rook to d1 check. So the only defender of this queen on c4 was a rook on c1, and this piece, queen on f7, was attacking the queen on c4. So now we are forcibly diverting the rook from c1 to d1. If you capture this, then white loses his queen. And if your king moves to g2, which is the only other move which you can play in this position, don't think of trying to checkmate with queen f1 checkmate, because you can't, because the king is under check. And also, even if the king was on some other square, the queen on c4 is still guarding the f1 square. Queen on c4 is guarding the f1 square. Also, there is a pin like this. There's a pin. So you cannot move this queen unless, except for on this diagonal, a to g8 diagonal, because otherwise there would be a check. So here after king g2, what you have to do is simply snatch the queen on c4. Now white is forced to capture the queen on c4, and then you get a free rook. Rook takes a1. And this is completely winning because this pawn is also about to perish. And then with one full extra rook, you can definitely win the game without any problems at all. You can smoothly win this game. So I hope you understood these three examples, guys. It is a very simple puzzles, just to make you understand and give you conceptual clarity on how to drive away the defender, or divert the defender, or capture the defender in order to achieve your aims. That is, it could be increasing the mobility of the piece, not just necessarily mobility of the piece. It could even be to checkmate a king. You can also remove a defender from, say, if the black has castle on the king side, and there is a knight on f6 defending the pawns on h7 and defending the pawns on h7. If you get a chance to sacrifice one of your pieces, say a rook on f1 with on the knight on f6, I don't have a game with that. I'm just giving you an example. In the future I'll bring up many games so that you can understand how to remove the defender also. But just now, just imagine and listen to what I'm saying. So in such a case, you can even sacrifice the rook on f6, from f1 to f6, and remove the key defender from the king side castle black king, so that you can checkmate the black king using other pieces. So it depends on the position. So removing the defender is not just to increase the mobility, it is also to achieve bigger aims like checkmating the king, or even winning more material by sacrificing one of your pieces in return for a better material. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. In case you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And in case you have not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to my channel. I will be regularly uploading videos on various topics of chess, especially for beginners, because exclusively uploading videos until I complete this series, which is exclusively for beginners alone. Be it absolute beginners or even post beginners can also watch my videos. So thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. and take care of yourself. Goodbye.